right, guess who's back? You already know I gotta clean my glasses. My glasses are always dirty. So, this is a research update. I met with my advisor today. Today is, let me see the date. Mm-hmm. How are y'all, by the way? Are doing all right? Make sure. Gotta. Um, June 25th. All right, so let's talk about. Actually, these are props, which I'll talk about in a moment. So I met with my advisor today because since we last talked about my research, I've not done too much. I am working on coding my data, which I believe I talked about in the research video, but I was stumped. Having over 3,000 photos was like overwhelming. So today I met with my advisor to talk about logistically how I can get through these images and write my discussion section for my dissertation. So let me make sure. Okay. All right. So we met today at 11 my time, 2 p.m. East Coast. And this is my dissertation PhD. Well, this is like my exam notebook. So this is where I've had all my notes and stuff. All right, so let's get to today, the 25th. So I came in with a couple questions. I asked my advisor how many photos would be enough because I realized 3,000 is just theoretically, it sounds great, right? It's like, oh, I'm an overachiever. We're not trying to overachieve for this dissertation. Like everyone says, a done dissertation is the best dissertation. This is not my magnum opus. No. Will it be a great document? Absolutely. It'll be bomb, but will it be the best thing I ever write in my life? It will not. Okay, so talked about that. He definitely said 3,000, way too much. So we're going to do 100, which I'll talk about this process. And this is really good because then I can actually pull from the videos and write. So I'll get to that in a moment. So 100. So I have to narrow my search to 100 photos. And then I was asking what information from each photo is relevant in terms of my archival photos. And so he said 100. And the information that's important, he said that I need to be paying attention to a few things as I'm narrowing. I need to ask myself, what do I need from this data? Or actually, data is plural, so datum. What do I need from this datum? And how is it going to help me answer my research question? So that information is important. So basically, which I'm not going to share my spreadsheet, my coding spreadsheet, but these are some things that I did. So basically, I have a spreadsheet, and I have my data numbered, the location of where I got it from, whether it was Library of Congress, the Virginia Beach Library, archives, NSU, or online. And then I have the type of document. And so we talked about genre breakdown. And so instead of type of document, I'm going to have genre, where it's either a technical document, which is like a memo, anything that's instructional, photos, publications, so publications, thinking about newspapers and things like that. I also have like hearing information. I also have business records. So I have to figure out how that might be labeled as well in terms of genre analysis. And then I have publication title if applicable. Then I have the title. So this is the title of whatever the datum is. Author, if there is one. The date of publication or date of the record. The file title so that I can keep up with it. The number of pages. And then I have theme / major topic. So like in my just initial review of just 30 something documents, 30 something photos, to major themes that emerge: violence, racism, leisure, politics, law enforcement. I'm paying attention to the nuances of language, like looting, for example, riot versus festival, those kinds of things. So, yeah, so those topics, I'll talk about that in a moment. And then I also have this piece which he pointed out relevant to project. So basically, because I'm debating on what I want to, let me finish this question and then we'll go. All right. So the last question was, am I writing this process like a science report? He said no. Mainly, in my mind, I'm conceptualizing this research process as more like a diary. So I will be sharing this vlogging style, but I'll also be taking notes like a diary, like a journal or a diary. So what are my next steps? So he and I are meeting next week to talk about what I found. And we're actually going to go over one datum, and we'll like walk through an analysis together, which I think is so great. I'm so grateful. So basically my plan now is to, though I won't be looking at 3,000 photos, I really don't have time to look at 3,000. I mean, in my mind, it's like I could and not get sleep, but we're not doing that anymore. We're having balance. So I'm reducing my data to find 100 data. And of the 100, I'm going to break down the genre and to have 20 archival materials per genre. So 20 publications, 20 technical documents, 20 photos, and all of that, which won't be hard because, like I said, I have 3,000 photos. So once I narrow it, but how I narrow it, which is why I was like looking at my computer and pausing because I was reading my spreadsheet, how I'm going to narrow it is to look at the relevant to my project and really decide what will make a piece of, what will make the material relevant to my project. So one thing I'm noticing in this process too is like I really have to make decisions. Nobody's going to tell me what I think I want to hear. Not even I think I want to hear. Nobody, like a lot of times you hear people talk about writing their dissertation and it's like you have to satisfy this person on your committee or that person on your committee. But for mine, my committee members keep asking me, Tanya, what do you want to do? And so now it's like, oh, gotta make decisions. And I learned in psychology a long time ago, not making a decision is still making a decision. So yeah, so I'm reducing that. Then I have to decide what type of analysis I want to do. So he gave me 2 books because I took a research methods class actually with my advisor, but that was a long time ago. And it's different when you like do something for a class and then when you do something in real life, if you will. So the 2 books that I'm going to be getting, one is Qualitative Content Analysis in Practice by Margaret Schreyer. And then another one is Analyzing Qualitative Data by Graham R. Gibbs. So basically, by next week, I have to decide if I want to do, after I do my reduction, my data reduction, if I want to do content analysis, rhetorical analysis, discourse analysis, genre analysis. So there are quite a few that I have to decide. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't know which one I want to do. So I need to read up on them to decide what will work best. And then we talked about, as I'm thinking about claims and narratives that are emerging from the data, I can do 2 things. I can look at the material and see what rises, or I can impose what I think is going to happen, or how I can impose my lens, so to speak. I don't think that's exactly how he said it, but that's how I'm interpreting things. But I actually am going to see what emerges from the evidence. The thing that I will say that came out of this conversation that I think is very beautiful is this idea that, so y'all know I taught. And so basically when you teach writing, particularly teaching students to make an argument, they don't make an argument out of thin air. They make an argument based on research. And so the best research papers, and this really is what separates research papers from like personal narratives. I'm not going to get all the way into that because we're not talking about that in this channel. You want to know more about that kind of stuff, go to Boosie Teaches. I'm relaunching my web series. Well, I'm reshooting that soon. That being said, in a nutshell, when we think about research papers, a lot of it is first coming from what is already out there. What are other people already saying? And then you are entering a conversation that is a scholarly conversation that's already happening. And so basically what was so great in a full circle moment with meeting with my advisor was basically I am doing that. This is the research. The archival work is the research. And now I'm seeing what emerges from my research to make a claim. And then when I make my claim, it will be supported by the evidence in my research. So that also goes back to why I was pausing. What information is important? So we talked about that. And so I'm going to look at my archival materials like I would any other text. I'm going to highlight, underline, make notes, pull out key quotes, things that, themes, all that kind of information that I would do, that I've done time and time again to make my argument. My dissertation process is not anything that I haven't done before. I've done archival work before. I've done this same process, not to this degree, but I've already done it. And so it just makes me feel good that this process that I'm doing is not new. It just felt different. And it feels different now because I am different. And so I'm really excited. And I'm excited to talk about it. And I'm not crying. I'm not upset. I'm not overwhelmed. It's like, oh, I'm just reading the documents, making notes, seeing what the argument is. I can do that. I can do that. So yeah, so we talked about that. Then we talked about my discussion and my findings chapter. So basically my next thing is, I'm a little all over the place, y'all. My next thing is to narrow. So by the time I talk to him again next Tuesday, which I'll do another updated video, I will have 100 100 materials to focus on, and then we'll go over the analysis. I will also let him know what my analytical framework will be. And then the analytical framework also has to dovetail with critical race theory, which is my theoretical frame, which I'll talk more about in another video. So basically I'm going to do that. I'm going to have I'll probably use this notebook and journal the process. He and I will go over like how I actually do this analysis, and then I'll do the analysis of the 100. That'll probably take me maybe a week, give myself 2 weeks max to do that, to write those 2 chapters, and then work backwards, work on my lit review and the introduction and all of that. My personal timeline is that by August, the first week in August, I will have a full draft ready to send to my other committee members so that we can meet, break things down. By the end of September, I will send a completed version of my dissertation to the powers that be at Mason, and I'm going to defend in October. My advisor was like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, it's time." So I will be defending in October in person. When I have that date, I'll let y'all know. Yeah. It's time. It's time to be Dr. Boosie. I've been in my program for 7 years, and yeah. And this isn't anything I can't do. Like the great conversation that I had with my advisor. Shout out to my advisor, just my committee members. Like I keep saying, I am, and sometimes we repeat because I'm also convincing myself, but like for me to finish this dissertation, I've helped lots of people write project documents, dissertations, scholarships. I taught writing. I'm a writer. So yeah, it's time. Oh, the other thing we talked about, because I want to finish this up. So originally when I did my prospectus, we said that the dissertation is about 150 pages. But based on what I'm working on and how much I want to write, I'm thinking that it might be 200 pages. Because my first research packet for my oral defense was about 68 pages. And then I had to narrow that document for my prospectus to, I think, like 30 something pages. And that was a struggle to really narrow that But here I can write extensively, and I have a feeling that my discussion piece alone will be probably, based on all the things that I have to do and to share about my process, will probably be 40 pages at least. 40 to 50 pages, and I think my findings will be at least 50 pages. I'm learning a lot, and I'm so glad that I stuck with this process. It was hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but worth it. Because on the other side, I'm so excited because now, I think I told y'all this, but if I have, just, well, it's redundant. Probably going back to higher ed. It's time. Yeah, I will be teaching in the fall one course. And I'll see how I like it, but now that I'm back into this scholarly process, I think I want to go back full time. Some other things. So when I'm narrowing my source, my archival material, it's called Thinking About Inclusion and Exclusion Criteria. And yeah, and we meet next week. So that is where I am for my research. Yeah, very excited to get to that. And let's see what else is coming up. So still on my Yoga Olympics journey, which there'll be a whole video that talks about my whole yoga process. And yeah, and once I'm done with all of my requirements, I will finish the major one. But once I'm done with the other requirements and get my certificate, I will release that Yoga Olympics video. What else is coming up? I need to work on yamas and niyama. My niyamas, part of my yamas and niyama video. And recently I went to a matrix workshop at the Tree, which is my yoga family. And I'm going to talk about things that emerged from watching the matrix again. I'm actually going to pair my latest notes with my notes when I did mental yoga and have a whole matrix video. Originally, I was going to do all of them, but I'm going to actually break it up. So we'll do matrix 1, basically. I'll convince Ja, who is like my guru, as well as he's like an uncle to me. To me in my mind, he's like my yoga uncle, which I think I've told him, but I got to tell him again. Anyway, because I love to relate to people in a very familial way. But hopefully we can do more of these. So if we did Matrix 1, maybe we can do 2 and 3. And I'll do those videos. Let's see what else. Oh, why do I have these props? So basically, once I find my 100 archival materials, I'm going to print them out old school and do tabs, highlights. My advisor, he was like, you're going to waste a lot of trees. And I was like, there are some things that can't be helped. But I will say, though, once I print out everything, I'm going to have a binder, and I will keep that as a token of this process. I don't think I'll throw away the materials. I'll just put it in a binder. And I'll probably use it for maybe a demonstration for another class. Oh, the other good thing was my advisor asked me to be like a guest speaker in his master level class in September. No, he didn't give a date in the fall. So that's really good. And I feel like it was one other thing. I also told him that my current job, I get tuition reimbursement. So this last class was paid for, which is great because these courses are so expensive. And y'all know I like to keep it real and tell y'all numbers. So this course for the spring was $2,211. I did a payment plan because it's I'm not getting all that at once. But my job reimbursed me. And then for my last semester, my job is I'm going to pay for the class and the job's going to reimburse me. And I feel like that's a win. To have my tuition paid for, that's a win. So yeah, so that's where we are with everything. Let me go ahead and finish up my day. And I'm debating on if I want to go to yoga tonight. One of the yoga teachers at a studio down the street from me, well, it's not literally down the street, but we're going to say down the street, in Burbank, there's a 7 o'clock class. So I will decide probably about 4 today if I want to go. So anyway, that's all we have. So this is my research update. I hope that y'all are doing well, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, night, and I will see you next time. Thanks for being on the Boosie Evolves journey.